Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we did a video on the green card process, so I thought I'll make a quick video of the summary for the timeline for the removal of conditions I-751 process for my green card. So initially, when you apply for the green card and if your marriage is within 2 years from the date of application, you get a conditional green card, which is essentially valid for 2 years. After that 2 years, within the last 3 months of the 2 years expiring timeline, you have to apply for I-751 with the USCIS, which is called the conditions removal process. So the I-751 is a form along which you submit a proof of your marriage documents to remove the conditions to show that you continue to be married and to get the 10-year permanent resident green card. So the process started in February of 2022 when I sent in the I-751 form along with the $680 fee and the supporting documents for the removal of conditions. So on 15th of February 2022, I sent in all the documents to the USCIS via UPS and I had a tracking number with it. I always recommend this for important documents and the process related to green card, so you have a tracking and you know where your documents have reached. On the 17th of February, I got a notification from the UPS that my package was delivered to the USCIS address. On the 22nd of February 2022, I got a text message from USCIS saying that they received my application packet and that they are working on it. By the end of that month, on the 23rd of February 2022, the $680 check that I mentioned was debited from my account. That told me or indicated to me that the USCIS has started to process my application for removal of conditions and hence the fee has been deducted from my bank account. On the 1st of March 2022, I received the I-797 letter from the USCIS. This letter showed that the processing time for my case might take about 24 months or 2 years, and that in conjunction with this letter and my expired green card, I could continue to work and travel outside the United States. Work within the United States, of course, and travel outside the United States. This essentially is a document which you should always carry with your expired green card while your conditions are being removed, so it doesn't have you stuck anywhere outside of the country in case you're traveling out, or even if you switch employers, you can submit these documents to continue your employment. So from there was the waiting game. I actually waited for 4.5 months, and somewhere in the middle of July 2022, I received a notification on the USCIS portal where I could find updates by inserting my case ID. And once I put my case ID in there, I noticed that it said my previous fingerprints and biometrics from the initial submission of all my documents a couple years ago are going to be used or reused for this application for the removal of conditions for I-751, which essentially meant I did not need to go into a USCIS office for submitting my biometrics again. So that saved me a trip to the USCIS and made this part of the processing easier. Following that, I received a notification 4 days later in mail, an I-797C, saying that the fingerprints have been taken, which essentially meant the notification that they sent me 4 days ago, that older fingerprints and biometrics were successfully utilized for the current application for the removal of conditions I-751. So the next update from the USCIS after the approval of my biometrics in July of 2022 came actually 8 months later in the March of 2023. Here I got a letter which I wasn't expecting. USCIS sent me another I-797 saying that the case might take 48 months to process, and they sent me an I-797 with a 48-month extension. Again, this is a letter similar to the 24-month extension letter, which essentially meant I could work within the United States and travel outside the United States with the expired green card and this letter, and I should have no issues. This was sort of a concern because now I was under the impression that my I-751 case might take about 4 years, which is not really an issue if you have the letter, but just prolongs you having the permanent residency, the green card that is. So yeah, the next update that came about was in the mid of March 2023. So after the 48-month extension letter that I received in March of 2023, I had to wait for about 11 months. In February of 2024 is when I got the next update. Around that time, I must admit I was concerned, like, why is USCIS taking so much time? Are they going to need more documents from me because I hadn't gotten any updates from them? And actually, towards the end of that 13-month period, I actually reached out and tried to call USCIS, and one of those calls I was successfully able to talk to a person, and then they said they are just taking the regular time, and the case processing for such a case is now 24 months, which used to be 12 months before the pandemic, or even lesser than that. So though I was concerned, I know once I knew after I spoke to this person that my case was on track and was about to be completed. So somewhere in the middle of February 2024, I received an update on the USCIS portal again that my 751 case petition for removal of conditions has been approved and an approval notice had been sent to my address. This was the best piece of information that I got from their portal in all these years. Actually, about 2 years after I had submitted my application for removal of conditions I-751, I got my update in February of 2024 that my case has been approved and the conditions have been removed from my permanent residency. However, the USCIS did not send me a new green card with a 10-year extension. They actually asked me to reuse my old green card, which was a glitch on their end, and they initially had sent me a 10-year green card. More on that in the next video. But for now, I knew that my conditions were removed and my green card was valid, and the expiry date, which was 10 years from the date it was delivered to me, was valid, and I was able to use it as my permanent resident green card. This is my timeline. I started off middle of February 2022, mailed the documents for the removal of my conditions. Same month, my check gets deducted from my account. The next month, I get a 24-month extension, I-797, which enabled me to continue working and traveling even while the card expired. In a few months from there, my fingerprints and biometrics from my previous application were reused. I got a confirmation of that. March of 2023, 13 months after the application had been sent, I had received the 48-month extension letter for I-797, which enabled me to work and travel for 4 years after the card had expired. And 11 months after that, in the middle of February 2024, I received a notification and the letter from USCIS saying that my I-751 application has been approved, the conditions have been removed from my green card, and that I'm good to go. So there's my timeline. It took me about 24 months to remove conditions from my green card and to move into a permanent resident status without any conditions. I hope this helped anybody in the same boat as I was 2 years ago. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Once again, this is just my experience. One more data point for you to gauge your situation. But yeah, this is not any legal opinion or any formal suggestions that I'm making here. This is just my opinion and my experience of being on the customer side of this process. If you need any legal opinion on any particular documentation or anything, I would highly recommend you consult an immigration attorney. And I definitely did during this time for a few calls and consulting for why my case was taking so long. So I'd recommend you do that. But overall, I started the process in February 2022 for the removal of conditions of I-751, and the conditions got removed in February of 2024. I hope this helps, and yeah, I'll continue to make more videos on this topic related to immigration. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Yeah, thank you.